Alright guys, I was going to film this dope little sequence up here on the roof, but I think it's a bit too windy and there's too many cars going past. So I'll give you the intro and then we'll go downstairs and do the rest. But welcome back to episode 39 of me sitting down once a week to talk about life and business and build in public and distill all of the lessons and the learning into these videos right here on YouTube so you guys can benefit as well. And this video will just be one take, or mostly one take, and you can just listen to it. You don't need to watch the screen if you don't want to. And usually I give you a speed update on the business, but this time I'm actually going to do that at the end just to shake it up and try something new. And also, who knows, maybe you guys will watch more of the video, YouTube will favor it, and thousands more people will come across our stuff. But you'll still get the gist, don't worry. And there's some other cool stuff that I want to talk about today. And the first thing is this concept of a barnacle on a whale. And it started from a guy called Andrew Wilkinson. Years ago, he was approached by the guys at Shopify. If you don't know what Shopify is, it's an e-commerce platform to build your site and sell products. They're huge now. They're like the leaders in the space. And they said to him, hey man, we love your website design. Can you design us some themes for our customers? Instead of paying him, the typical 10, 20 grand that you would for a website, they said, we won't pay you, but you can list it on our marketplace and our customers will pay you every time they buy the theme. And so at one point, he had 50% of all the things on Shopify he had built, or his agency had built, basically. And the business went from $5,000 a month to $10,000 a month to 20, 50, 100, 200, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, really passively. And it wasn't because he was great at marketing or even because the designs were amazing. I'm sure they were good. It was actually because Shopify grew like crazy in that period. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars on advertising. The company grew exponentially and they acquired a lot of customers. The concept's called barnacle on a whale because you want to be that barnacle that's attached to a much bigger engine that's growing regardless, and they confront the marketing costs and they confront the growth, and then you benefit as a default. So Andrew ended up selling that company for a couple $1 million. He then bought it back a few years later for like $7 million, and he rolled it up with a few other Shopify apps and sold them all for like 200. So quite an interesting story overall, but I wanted to talk about it downstairs. When I get down, I'll tell you the rest of the story. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I went up the coast and caught up with some family, and my uncle, I was sitting down with him, and I told him the story of the barnacle on a whale, and I told him how we're looking for a whale that we can attach ourselves to, some other company or community that can be a real win-win and help us grow significantly. And for so long, I thought it was a business, some sort of co-living company or other community that has a lot of young entrepreneurs and founders in it. And he was like, your whale is a person, not a business. I was like, what do you mean a person? He goes, a person, a young entrepreneur that will be like attract bees to honey, someone who is really well known and well respected. And if they were involved in the Art of Mondays community, then other people would want to be involved. The whole thing will grow really significantly because they're involved. And so I thought a lot more about this in the following couple of weeks, and I've realized there's this very simple system that could unlock just like huge potential in what we do. I always knew it was about the people. I knew the people were the product, but I thought of this thing called a flywheel, and it's basically that we bring reputable young entrepreneurs into our space to speak to our crew, for a Q&A type thing. And a lot of these people who have had a lot of experience love to give back to communities of young entrepreneurs because they were there at one point. When you start to skateboard, you start by standing on the board, balancing, and then you push, and then you ollie, and then you kick flip, and you progress up. And it's the same in business. Everyone started from nothing. So there's almost like this feeling of wanting to help yourself when you were 15, And so it's somewhat easy to bring these people in when you have enough of a reputation. And that's could be an entire strategy. Just bring a reputable person in to speak to our crew, get them involved in Art of Mondays. After they've spoken to the crew, get them involved in the membership, somehow offer them the membership or a founder residency, or build them more into the community. And then all of a sudden it becomes easier to acquire members because they see the face, they see that person, and aspirationally they want to be more involved. Plus it's easier to get more reputable founders to come in because we've had some in the past. And so it becomes this flywheel effect where you take one action and the whole thing starts building momentum more and more and more. And we're already starting to feel that momentum with Art of Mondays as it is, because in theory, the bigger the community grows, the easier it is to acquire more members for the community because there's more people that they know. And initially, I just relied on people kind of knowing me, and maybe, I could give enough value for them to come in initially. And now it's way more about the people and not me. So anyway, a bit of a ramble, but it introduced this other concept which I wanted to talk about today, which is called flywheel. And there's many flywheels in your business. And if you can get this right, regardless of your business, you don't have to have a community like me. You could have e-commerce business, you could have agency, anything. There are flywheels in every business. And if you get this right, it is a huge unlock. So I'll give you an example. When I grew on social media, I decided to edit a video a day, and as a result of that, I posted a reel a day, and it gained eyeballs, and those eyeballs grew my audience, and that led me to want to give more value to the audience and continue growing it. So I shot more content and I edited another video, and this flywheel effect came into play where it really built momentum. And over the course of a few months, I gained 100,000 followers on Instagram or whatever it was. And it all came from this simple flywheel. And the beauty of flywheels is that you don't add in any unnecessary fluff. You know exactly what it is and you just do those things. Another example of a flywheel is what I just talked about, which is get reputable young founders into our community, and then that'll attract more, and then that'll basically build this momentum. And one more example could be a paid advertising funnel. So, for example, with the Founder Sports Club that we launched recently, we are running ads to acquire more people. And the way that works is if you sign up to be part of the sports club, you get introduced to 3 other founders in your city every month going forwards. So there's incentive to stay on and continue for a long time as well. So we spend money on ads to get a member for the sports club in a certain city, and those people talk about it. They bring in more members by default, word of mouth, but also they have a great experience, and then a percentage of them apply for Art of Mondays itself, and then a percentage of those people become members of Art of Mondays. And we've had our first 1 or 2 starting to come through now, which is really cool to see. So that's a flywheel in itself that starts from an ad for the sports club that leads to us acquiring members for Art of Mondays, and the whole wheel goes around again. So it's a very powerful concept. And Alex Hormozi has this saying where if you only ever sold your product to one person and your entire business grew, who would that person be? And also, what does your product need to be in order for that effect to happen? In other words, you sell to someone, they rave about your product so much that other people buy the product, and then it has this network effect that the whole thing grows. And that's really hard to do, but if you can get that right, it's like game over in business. So that is a bit of a brain dump, but I'm going to reel it back a bit and give you guys an update on the business now, speed update. So Art of Monday's numbers on the screen right now. We've had 282 applications for the community. We've accepted, I think it's 45 members. It's kind of right in between. Technically, we don't intake until October 7th, so I can't confirm those numbers, but we have a lot of people, 5 or 6 people paid in advance and locking in spots in advance. So that's really cool to see. And the average member is 27 years old, and they're all lifestyle founders of online businesses. So that would take us over $150,000 in revenue in the business this year since we started. Founder Sports Club update is that we're at just shy of 400 active members now. We had our first meetups this month. I saw some photos coming through. I went on a couple of them. I joined a few groups, which is really dope. We ended up playing Cashflow 101. If you know, you know. But it's a game I played a lot when I was a kid. And if you're not a part of it, why not? We introduce you to 3 new founders in your city every month. It's like less than a coffee a month to be a part of. Go check it out. If you are not sure if there's people in your city, that's a common question that we're getting. Join anyway, because once you're on the wait list, we can start finding more members in your city and bring them in actively. If you're not on the wait list, we don't know. But yeah, that's worth checking out. And personal brand growth stats. I'm at 7,189 subs on YouTube. That's up about 100. I'm at 149.4 on Instagram. That is down about 280. I'm at 329.2 on TikTok. That's up, not by much, but it's up. And Art of Monday's Instagram is still cruising. That's at 6,715, which is up over 500 this week, as per usual. So one final thing to leave you with, which is a question to ponder, and that is, what is your barnacle on a whale story for your business or even your personal life? That's it from me. All the links that you need in the description below. I appreciate you guys being here, and subscribe if you want to see more. See you in the next one. Peace.